So the energy workers and the coal miners in the area that I'm standing on, and there's a lot of weight on this platform, so I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it's structurally designed for you guys. I don't know. But we have just really well-deserving, great American patriots, and it's such an honor to be here and making such a big move, such a bold move in energy. Because, you know, for years, people would just bemoan this industry and decimate the industry for absolutely no reason, because with modern technology and all of the other things that we do, it's one of the great forms of energy. That's why other countries, leading countries, are using it, some exclusively. For 4 long years, Joe Biden and congressional Democrats tried to abolish the American coal industry. They did everything in their power while he was awake, which wasn't much, shutting down dozens of coal plants, banning coal leases on federal lands, and putting thousands and thousands of coal miners out of work, destroying their lives, actually, destroying their lives. I'll never forget when I went to West Virginia, which I won by 48 points, I think, right? Big Jim, I won by 48 points. But in the first campaign where Hillary Clinton was about 4 states too early, and she was
Isn't it
talking
funny how
about
we
how
just
bad
talked
coal
about coal
was,
miners?
and how they were going to teach coal miners
in terms of like the mythology surrounding like real hard hat wearing, hard dick
One thing I learned about
workers.
The coal miners, that's what they want to do. You could give them a penthouse
like,
on Fifth Avenue.
This is it. This is perhaps one of the greatest examples of exactly what I'm talking about.
She was going to put them in a high-tech industry where you make little cell phones and things. I don't know. Do you think he'd be good at that? I don't know. You don't want to be. And
the order will direct federal agencies to remove barriers to coal leasing and mining, loosen environmental reviews of coal projects, and explore whether coal-fired electricity could help power new AI data centers, according to the White House official. The administration also plans to designate coal a critical mineral.
And he was in tears because of what they had done to him and his family. And I hope he's still around, but that man made quite an impression on the world and the public. And we ended up winning in a great election, but we ended up winning by a lot. The Democrats' Green New scam killed jobs and sent prices soaring here in America. But meanwhile, China opened 2 coal plants every single week, and other countries likewise went very strongly back into coal. Some of them never got off. Those are the ones that didn't have the problems. The Biden energy policy was to put America last. We want to be last. We got to be last. Not a good policy. Under my administration, we're putting America first. It's very simple. America's always going to be first. On my first day in office, I terminated the Green New scam. I declared the national energy emergency and withdrew from the unfair, one-sided, and extremely costly to the United States only Paris Climate Accord. You know, under the Paris Climate Accord, we had a terrible situation. We would have paid over $1 trillion. Think of it, over $1 trillion. And Russia was paying almost nothing. Russia had a 1992 standard. China was paying nothing. China didn't kick in until 2035. This was 5 years ago. So they didn't kick in for many years. India had no standard whatsoever. But we had the highest standard you could imagine, and we had to start paying from day one, and we had to pay lots of money. We paid for everything. So I was not a big fan of the Paris Accord, and I let it be known, and I got out of it early. Then they went back into it, and now we get back out of it. And hopefully we can be there for a long time, okay? A long time, because it was a scam to take money away from the United States and actually hurt us very badly with coal and with other things. Now, under the executive order that I will sign in a few moments,
you guys simply don't understand. Oh, you said 2035. Okay. Trump has a vision that is future focused. That's why. He's living in 2040. You're still living in 2025. Okay? That's the problem. He thinks in centuries. You think in decades. Okay?
The government bias against coal, and we're going to unlock the sweeping authorities of Defense Production Act, the Defense Production Act, to turbocharge coal mining in America. They made
I just
it
had a
impossible.
coworker conversation, and it didn't go anything like how
Actually,
you said.
I know a friend of mine
I don't
has
know
a plant.
how am I supposed
He
to
said, it's a
fucking
shame.
imagine
I'm
what
ripping
all
it
of your
down and I'm
coworker
replacing
conversations
it
are supposed to
with
look like?
Another form of energy.
So
I won't
funny.
tell you because it's also very good, but it's not as powerful as this. He said, the plant I'm building, the new plant, is literally half as good.
Beijing
It's
calls
no less,
Vance ignorant over
it's
Chinese
not
peasant
probably
remark.
even as good environmentally, but he said it produced half the power for more money, much more money. It'll never compete with that beautiful plant I have down the road, which was really a modernized coal plant. Well, he'll be happy to know that he can open that plant up very quickly, and it's going to produce a lot. But he was complaining. He said, this is so much better. He wasn't doing that as politicking me. He was doing that because that's what he felt. And he knew every form of energy. We talked about that. He knew every form of energy. But our government is going to do something that's very different. And I don't think even you two know about this. This was my idea from about 15 minutes before I got up here. We're going to guarantee that we have a strong business for many years to come, that your coal companies and your miners don't get all excited about their jobs, and then should a radical left liberal become president, they end the business right away, and somebody's built a plant and spent hundreds of millions of dollars in building a plant, and the plant is going to be closed because a Democrat got in or a liberal got in. They're opposed to coal, and Republicans are very much for it. Clean coal. And we're going to give a guarantee that the business will not be terminated by the ups and downs of the world of politics. So should somebody come in to this very important office and say, oh, well, you spent hundreds of millions of dollars and you guys have given up your life because you want to be in coal, and then all of a sudden you don't have a life anymore because it's what you know the best, that's not going to happen. We're going to give a guarantee that it's not going to happen, so that if somebody comes in, they cannot change it at a whim. They cannot just going to go. They're going to have to go through hell to close you up. All right, so that's pretty good. We're going to give that in the form of a guarantee that we're writing on right now structurally and from a legal standpoint. So your investments are going to also be protected. And you're going to have no reason to be concerned about your future, your life, or your investment if you're a miner, as this great governor was a miner. Actually, he was one of the larger coal miners. He could fit up here very easily, Big Jim. But he was a great success. But they were very, very tough on him, and he did a beautiful job with a beautiful product. Already under our leadership, the Department of Interior has approved the expansion of the Spring Creek mine in Montana, supporting 280 coal mining jobs and unlocking over 40 million tons of coal. And there's more to come. Spring Creek, big one. And there's more to come in the states of Wyoming, Alabama, Utah, North Dakota, and many others. West Virginia, I can't believe they didn't put West Virginia down. It's lucky I mentioned that, right? Can you imagine if I didn't mention West Virginia? I would have been in big trouble. They didn't mark it down here. It's good to have a president like that can pick that up, right? You think Joe Biden would have picked that up? I don't think so. Gee, they didn't mention West Virginia. I don't think so. I don't think he'd be standing up here either. The value of untapped coal in our country is 100 times greater than the value of all the gold in Fort Knox. And we're going to unleash it and make America rich and powerful again. Under this order, I'm also directing Secretary Wright to use billions of dollars in federal funding to invest in the next generation of coal technology, which is an amazing technology in terms of getting the full potential of coal and also doing it a very clean, environmental way. Pound for pound, coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy there is on Earth today. It's a big statement. You never hear those statements, You've never heard that before from a politician, have you? Well, maybe from that politician, but not too many. But that's the way it is. I say it again. Pound for pound, coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy. It's cheap, incredibly efficient, high density, and it's almost indestructible. You could drop a bomb on it, and it's going to be there for you to use the next day, which you can't say with any other form of energy. Virtually indestructible. Most importantly, we have more of it here in America than anywhere else on earth. We have more coal than any other country. You go to Australia, they have fantastic amounts of coal. You know who they sell it to? China. They sell it to China. They're nearby. They sell a lot of it to China. But we have more than anywhere else on earth. We also have more liquid gold than anywhere on earth. So we're really an energy behemoth, but we're unleashing that also. That's going to be another part. But I didn't even want to mention that. It's not down here because I didn't want to mention today is about clean, beautiful coal. So I'm going to give this to you. This big guy. Should I give it to him?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. For example, we believe it's possible to extract enormous amounts of critical minerals and rare earths, which you know we need for technology and high technology in the process of coal mining, making in America the mineral superpower of the world, actually. In addition, I'm instructing the Department of Justice to identify and fight every single unconstitutional state or local regulation that's putting our coal miners out of business. And we are withdrawing all of those objections from our government today. It's all being withdrawn. So all of you people that have been fighting for your lives, we are withdrawing all of that today. We have excellent lawyers, excellent. Have you noticed that lots of law firms have been signing up with Trump? $100 million.
You forced them.
$100 million.
You literally threatened them. Many of them are too pussy to fucking fight back.
Damages that they've done. But they give you $100 million, and then they announce that. But we have done nothing wrong, and I agree, they've done nothing wrong. But what the hell? They give me a lot of money, considering they've done nothing wrong. And we'll use some of those people, some of those great firms. They are great firms too. They just had a bad moment, but we're going to use some of those firms to work with you on your leasing and your other things, and they'll do a great job. I think they're going to do a fantastic job.
I mean, for his fans, they don't care. They love it.
For those of you that want to know,
they love it. They love. They love when he stands in front of hard hat guys. That's their big fan. They're big fans of that.
$2 billion a day, and we're doing very well. And we're doing very well in making, I call them tailored deals, not off the rack. These are tailored, highly tailored deals. Right now, Japan is flying here to make a deal. South Korea is flying here to make a deal, and others are flying here. I mean, my only problem is I'm not sure I have enough. We're going to have to use those great law firms, I think, to help us with that. But we're going to probably do that, actually. We're going to use them, and we're getting them for the right price. Because we need a lot of talent. We have a lot of countries coming in. They want to make deals. If I told them about making those deals 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 5 years ago, they'd be laughing at us. Now they're all signing up. Mike, you know that. So it's going to be a great thing. But we're think of that, $2 billion a day. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money even in the coal business, isn't it? Huh? It's a lot of money. And America is going to be very rich again very soon. You're going to see that happening. You see it all along. And it's so that whole situation that, you know, it was somewhat explosive. But if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be talking the way we're talking right now. It's been amazing what's happened. Sometimes you have to mix it up a little bit. But we've had great consideration. We've had talks with many countries, over 70. They all want to come in. Our problem is can't see that many that fast.
We're gonna fire the bombers with coal,
and the money is pouring in.
We're gonna
at
use
a level
coal
that we've never seen before
on our B
and
on our bomber planes.
It's going to be great for other countries.
The F-35. How about the F-36? F-36 will be fired. Will be coal plant backed. It will fly with coal.
In any way.
I will unlock the energy potential of coal in ways that you've never considered before.
Now we have tariffs on cars. We have tariffs on lumber. Tariffs on steel and aluminum.
F-36,
steel plants are going up because of it.
F-47.
All over the country. We have 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, and I think the steel workers like me even more than the coal miners like me. I'm pretty sure that that's true. We have, instead of having no steel business, I put them on originally in my first term. We wouldn't have had one steel mill in the United States if I didn't do that. And now we upped it, and we not only are we taking in a lot of money, but we're protecting our workers, our steel workers. We're protecting our steel industry. And one thing you know, that steel and things like steel you need, because you need it from a defense standpoint. You need steel
When
for
will he
your
stop yapping?
tanks
He will
and
never
your
stop
planes and your
yapping.
everything. And certain industries you can get away with not having, but others you need, and steel is one you need. So I want to let you know that's in full force and effect. And literally, as we speak, I spoke to executives in the steel industry over the last few days, and they're all coming in to build plants in the United States of America, because if you build them in the United States, you have no tariffs to pay. There are no tariffs to pay, zero. If you build them outside using outside labor and hurting our businesses, and you send your product in, you have to pay a price for that, and they will be having tariffs, as you know. It's an amazing thing. This has been something used against us for many years by other countries, China in particular, but others, not just China, others, and taken advantage of us, ripped us off, and left us for dead, frankly. And I believe if I didn't become your president, I believe that this country would have had problems like they've never had before, because it was serious damage in so many other ways. Not only the border, where people came rushing into our country from prisons and jails and mental institutions, murderers, drug dealers, and some vicious criminals. 11,088 murderers came into our country. We have to get them out. We're getting them out. 11,088. Of that number, half committed murder on more than two people. And this is what they allowed into our country with their open border policy of lunacy. And we're taking care of that, just like we're taking care of you today. We're taking care of that. I want to thank Kristi Noem and Tom Homan for doing an unbelievable job. The whole thing is, the job they're doing is incredible. It's really an unforced error. It should have never happened, that we have to be spending such time and resources, Mr. Senator, right, on getting people out of our country that shouldn't be here. I mean, literally from mental institutions, insane asylums were opened up and emptied into our country. Prisons from all over the world, not just South America. Prisons from, think of this, from Africa, the Congo, a lot of people from the Congo, prisons in the Congo, prisons from Asia, from all over, were opened up. And I knew that when I heard it was an open border policy. I said, if you do that, every country is going to be dumping people that they don't want into our country, and that's what's happened. But we're cleaning it out. And the courts, we had a good decision, as you know, from the Supreme Court, allowing us to do that. We have judges that didn't want us to do it. We have judges that wanted the very evil gang members from Trendy, Iroquois, and MS-13. They didn't want them taken out of the country and put in very powerful prisons. When you look, you've all seen those clips, pretty amazing clips.
DHS revokes parole for hundreds of thousands who entered via the CBP One app. It's estimated to be over 900,000 people. The move could leave over 900,000 immigrants vulnerable to deportation unless they self-deport, DHS said.
We don't want them back. Can you imagine? You spend all of that time, energy, and money.
None of these people, these people are in the United States legally, by the way. None of these people are here illegally, regardless of how the administration considers them illegal immigrants or whatever the fuck. It does not matter. The reality is they have their paperwork. They're following through. They are actually working with the government, and the government is punishing them for working with the government and also falsely claiming them.
Like he was a member of MS-13, so they want him brought back.
Falsely claiming them illegal. Violent criminals, terrorists, everything under the sun.
Our country's got to get a lot smarter than it is, but
okay. Also, China says it is not a seeker of trouble, but make no mistake, we will never back down when challenged. Holy Toledo. Holy Toledo.
And that's what they're doing, and I have great respect for those people. And they're doing it out of love. They could get a much easier job. They're doing it out of love for our country. It's so important. Just like I'm doing this with coal today for love for our country. Earlier this afternoon, I signed another executive order to strengthen our electric grid by ensuring that coal-fired power plants are always available to meet surging demand for electricity. Unlike wind and solar, coal plants can run 24 hours a day in rain, sleet, or snow, and you will not be subject to the incredible blackout situation that's taking place in California, where they have blackouts all the time. It's an amazing thing with California. They have blackouts and brownouts at levels that nobody's ever seen before, and all they want to do is keep going the way they're going, and they're doing a very poor job. As you probably heard, I released billions of gallons of water going in from upstate California, from the most northern parts of California.
Brownouts are when the providers, like the utilities companies, will deliberately shut off power to certain areas, like in wildfire season, or when there's like unprecedented or historic amounts of wind, instead of fixing the infrastructure, of course, ahead of time and hardening it against such things. They use this as initially it was used as a mechanism of like last resort. Now it's just like normal process. But that leads to brownouts, as in electricity being the electricity grid shutting down in certain areas for an extended period of time.
Systems in houses, a lot of these luxury houses where they had beautiful sprinkler systems, there was no water. They had no water to put out the fires. Water is very good for putting out fires. You know, they just didn't learn it. But we now have millions of gallons, billions actually, they say, of gallons of water pouring into California from the Pacific Northwest, I guess they would say, mostly Pacific Northwest, but other parts of the northern sections of California and beyond. And it's a beautiful thing to see. I saw a picture of it this morning. The water's just flowing down there. I said, why didn't they do this? I told them to do it. My first term, I said, do it.
That's not what a brownout is? Wait, isn't it like certain areas getting electricity shut off?
When I say do it, they do it, right? And
someone said
we actually
brownouts, water is very good for putting out fires. What are you talking about?
To open it up. They had, think of this, they had all that water pouring out right
Brownout
into the
is a
Pacific.
drop in
valve,
voltage.
like a giant valve as big
That's
as this
a rolling
room.
blackout. Brownout is a failure to provide enough
one
power.
Day to turn it, and they face it toward the Pacific Ocean, and the water, all that was coming down, all millions and millions
My
of
bad.
gallons coming down, they put it into the Pacific Ocean, which for the Pacific Ocean is like a drop of water. But for California, it would have been unbelievable. So we did it. I'm very proud of the fact that we did it. We did that against a lot of heat and a lot of environmental nonsense. From now on, we'll ensure that our nation's critically needed coal plants, as an example, remain online and fully operational. They're always going to be operational. And again, we're going to have guarantees that government cannot close them down, close you down, and destroy your lives. To that end, I'm also instructing Secretary Wright to save the Cholla coal plant in Arizona, big plant, which has been slated for destruction. We're going to keep those coal miners on the job. Going to tell them to just remain calm, because we're going to have that plant opening and burning the clean coal, beautiful clean coal, in a very short period of time. You know all about that, right? That's a big one. As part of our historic deregulatory efforts this afternoon, I'm also granting immediate relief to 47 companies operating 66 coal plants, very big ones all over the country, recusing and making them available for coal production almost in the immediate future. But we're going to be crushing Biden-era environmental restrictions. These are restrictions that made it impossible to do anything having to do, frankly, with energy, even beyond coal. It's really beyond even coal. We have clean air, we have clean water, and now we have clean coal. And at the same time, we're gonna do other things and with other forms of technology and also energy like our country has never really seen before and never been known to do before because of all sorts of restrictions having to do with
what do you mean? What
Green
does
New
this
scam,
mean? What
which,
does this
by the
mean?
way, was devised by
what is he going to
somebody
do
that never even
that
studied.
we've never seen before?
You know that they never even studied anything to do with the environment. It's a young congresswoman. She came up with the idea, and based on that, I guess we only have. Well, actually, we should have all been gone because they gave us only a few years left on Earth, right? Right, Greg? We were going to be gone. We were all going to be gone. The environment. No, what they have to worry about is the nuclear heat. They don't have to worry about environmental heat. They have to worry about nuclear heat. And if we're smart, we're working on that right now with others having to do with Iran and some other countries. But that's the heat you're going to have to worry about. You don't have to worry about the air is getting warmer. The ocean will rise 1/4 of an inch within the next 500 to 600 years, giving you a little bit more waterfront property. They say this is going to, these guys can handle that. The nuclear we have a bigger problem with, right? So we're going to make sure that that's safe. We're going to make sure that that's safe. With us today are some of the amazing workers who will benefit from these policies, the policies that we're doing and so proud of doing, including Jeff Crow, a miner from West Virginia. Jeff, would you come up and say a few words? Jeff, come on up here, Jeff.
Thank you.
Why are you so obsessed with coal? Because Americans have a mythology around coal because of
Mr.
its
President,
history
first thank you for having me and my fellow miners here.
union
It is an
power
honor and a
it's,
privilege to be a part of today's events. I believe this past November that America clearly spoke about what we wanted for our country. It is reassuring for Americans to have a president in office who will truly put the United States of America above all else. Thank you. With putting America first, you have spoken numerous times about energy independence. I believe most don't understand the importance of that. Coal is one of the major factors in energy independence and accounts for a large portion of America's energy. Coal is one of the most reliable and cheapest forms of electricity. For too long, coal has been a dirty word that most are afraid to speak about. Most of those that would speak negatively about coal do so from an uneducated standpoint. Many are unaware of the engineering and technology that are used in today's mining to create a clean, energy-efficient product. All of this is done while using the safest practices in the industry. Speaking for West Virginia, coal provides approximately 50,000 jobs for those that work in the mines and the businesses that support them. It also accounts for over 50% of West Virginia's export product. To name a few, we employ engineers, teachers, physical therapists, accountants, truck drivers, high school and college graduates. All of these occupations and graduates have turned to the coal industry to provide a better way of life for them and their families. Everyone in our industry works long hours and days to provide a reliable energy product, and too many times it goes unnoticed. I've personally worked in the industry for 23 years. I choose to do this daily to provide my wife and children with the life that they deserve. Prior administrations have done all they could to eliminate the coal industry. Sorry, one second, I'm getting there. In my opinion, they have done so with an unethical and uneducated approach. But we are still strong, we are still here, and we are still needed in order to make America great again. Having a president and an administration that understands the need and importance of coal is more than appreciated. It gives the industry a form of reassurance to know that we have a president in place that supports us. From my family to the over 3,000 employees of ACNR, and for the coal companies, miners, and businesses throughout our great country that rely on the coal industry, we say thank you for your continued support. I personally thank you for what you do for our country and for our industry. It has been my pleasure to be here today to help you usher in the golden age of America. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Have you interviewed a climate scientist or reacted to stuff about climate change? I'd love to see that. It's fake. It's fake. But also, it's advantageous.
You did a good job.
It's fake. Climate science is fake and gay, just like all other sciences, believe me. But also, simultaneously, anthropogenic climate change is causing Greenland to be green again. New pathways of trade opening up. How did that happen? Nobody knows. Maybe it's a good thing.
And hopefully you can sell it tonight for a lot of money.
Sir, I'll keep that one.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jeff. And also with us is Tony Campbell of the East Kentucky Power Cooperative, and Tony's quite a gentleman and very respected in the industry. Come on up, Tony. Thank you.
Popping off in the house again.
Mr. President, on behalf of East Kentucky Power Cooperative, the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association,
This guy's awesome
and electric
looking.
cooperatives across this America, thank you for your leadership to restore American energy dominance. Electric co-ops keep the lights
He
on
looks exactly like I would assume a coal miner baron would look like.
of the landmass. We are owned by the communities and businesses we serve and provide electricity to growing communities, new data centers, and manufacturing plants. Mr. President, electric co-ops are
He's
powering
perfect.
America, and we are proud to partner with you.
He literally looks like one of those old anti-capitalist drawings of like a piglet capital owner. You know what I mean? Like a baron. So perfectly rotund. He needs a monocle and a top hat.
Our electric cooperatives in Kentucky understands the importance of reliable, affordable, and American-made energy, especially coal and natural gas. Coal fuels most of the electricity generated by our cooperative. America must keep coal plants open and running to ensure reliable electricity when we need it most. To meet growing demand over the next decade and ensure fuel security, America will need more always available electric generation power, such as coal. And we want to recognize the hardworking American men, women that support our mission. To all America's line workers, our coal miners, thank you for your dedicated service to our country. Affordable and reliable electricity is the cornerstone of our economy, especially American manufacturing. However, too many government leaders have pushed policies that have made our electric grid significantly less reliable and our energy too expensive. That begins to change now. Your actions today will prevent the premature closing of essential power plants and help us meet tomorrow's energy needs. And they will help us continue to deliver reliable, safe, and affordable electricity. Mr. President, thank you in particular for providing immediate, much-needed relief from the Biden EPA regulations that would force the shutdown of critical coal units. Finally, I want to say congratulations on the all-star energy team you've assembled. Electric co-ops have already been working with Secretaries Burgum, Wright, and Rollins, and Administrator Zeldin, and we are excited for all we can accomplish together. Mr. President, thank you again for your actions today and for your support for the electric cooperatives as we work to keep the lights on in America. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much, Tony. Appreciate it. Every day under the Trump administration, we will continue to lower costs for American families, create jobs for American workers, and very importantly, unlock unlimited amounts of affordable American energy, including, as I said, and I'll say for the last time, beautiful, clean coal. Our country is blessed. Our country is blessed with the most abundant natural resources on earth, as nobody has what we have. And we're going to use it, too. We're going to use it in a very responsible way. Together, we're going to tap that magnificent potential to give our people the glorious future that they deserve, better than they've ever had in the past. I mean, they had a good future, a little, if you look 20 years ago, they thought they had a good future, and it was ripped away from them, torn away from them with nonsense. And we're not going to let that happen. This is going to be a glorious future for them. And I want to thank everybody for being here. And I want to thank you and you and you and that whole group and our senators, by the way, and our great congressmen and women for being here in such a large number, because you've been helping us make these decisions. These are big decisions, and this is a really big one. And this is one that's going to be, I think we're going to look back and with great pride at what we've done today, not just in putting people to work, but at really reawakening our country. And thank you very much, and thank you all for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. So coal accounted for 60% of U.S. energy in 2023. Seems like companies are willingly moving away from coal. Why don't they push better energy sources? Stupid. I think it's the mythology surrounding coal as a signifier that you're pro-labor. Like, it's the same dynamic that even supposedly leftists on Twitter engage with sometimes, where they're like, oh, baristas are woke and gay and trans and not real workers. Coal miners, on the other hand, are hard hat wearing workers like Anthony Fauci right here, who apparently lost his job in the National Institute of Health and now has to work in a coal mine. Okay? It's just like, it's blue collar. It's the peak of like a blue collar job. That's what it is. It's a hard job. And the harder it is, the conditions are in the job, the better the more of a real job it actually is. Ironically enough, a big part of the reason why like coal mining jobs have become less common year over year is not necessarily because of the environmental regulations, but it is directly a consequence of automation. Automation displaces the pre-existing labor force, and it certainly has played a very... I found that those types of leftists all predictably join the ACP law. Yeah, exactly. When Donald Trump says he's like unleashing coal, he's not talking about like unleashing coal mining jobs or offering them additional benefits or whatever. He just means like, you know, we'll open up new coal mining opportunities for the coal business owners, but it's not necessarily going to help explode the capabilities or the labor power of the coal miners. Okay. And it's the same exact problem with Donald Trump talking about reshoring manufacturing. It is not about good jobs or good benefits. It is simply about over China and the manufacturing power and the political power that they get off of the manufacturing power that they have, with no real purpose, with no real interest of improving the pre-existing labor conditions in this country. Because the reality of the matter is, it's not like this country doesn't have any jobs. We do. We have plenty of jobs. Baristas are jobs. Librarians are jobs. Government regulators working at the federal authorities are jobs. They're firing those people and also simultaneously undermining their collective bargaining agreements at the federal level as well. TSA is a job, right? The issue is not the lack of availability of jobs. The issue is that these jobs don't pay well. Trump believes this stuff because he's a dim-witted asshole. What is this? Gary Cohn, the prince that was promised? Why don't we manufacture things at home, Lindsay asked. We're a manufacturing country. Of course, the United States manufactured things, but the reality did not match the vision in Trump's mind. President clung to an outdated view of America. Locomotives, factories, a huge smokestacks, workers busy on assembly lines. Cohn assembled every piece of economic data available to show that America's workers did not aspire to work in the assembly factories. It's not even that Americans don't want to work in these factories either, by the way. Because, like, Americans will work anywhere. It's the same thing that I mentioned about like fracking. Why does Western Pennsylvania love fracking? Okay, seemingly, even though that is also in dispute. But why do the people defend fracking? Because it's a decent paying wage job in an area where there was no jobs for 30 years. That's it. That's it. And it's heavily backed by subsidies by the federal government. It's not like these guys in Western Pennsylvania are like, no, my epigenetic memories require me to work in a fracking field, okay? This is my genetic predetermined destiny. That's not the reason. It's because they associate that sector, that industry, with decent wages. If the government was heavily subsidizing renewable energies like, you know, the Chinese century of prosperity, okay? If we were doing the American Communist Party, the Communist Party of America style central planning, and we focused our efforts entirely on renewable energies, then those guys would be the number one dick riders and loyalists of solar. It's just entirely about what gives them an opportunity to make a living. That's why I get mad when people talk about like retraining initiatives not working. It's not even retraining. It's just training. If you are from an area where there is no jobs because industry left as a consequence of NAFTA or as a consequence of just offshoring manufacturing, and you haven't had a good paying job for 20 years in your neighborhood, and then all of a sudden this new thing comes around, okay, and it's fracking, you're going to be Mr. Fracking. And you're going to get the training to do the fracking. It's not like you knew how to do fracking beforehand. It wasn't a skill set that was applicable. You got trained to do it. It's not retraining. It's just training. The point here isn't to get these guys to learn to code and make them code serfs, even though that part already happened. Everybody learned to code, and look at the coding sector now. Fracking is not a jobs provider at all, please. No, I'm just talking about the environment, the mythology surrounding fracking and where that comes from and why people think it's a way of life that cannot be taken away. Anyway, each month, Cohen brought Trump to the latest job openings and labor turnover survey called JOLTS, conducted by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He realized he was being an asshole by rubbing it in because each month was basically the same, but he didn't care. Mr. President, can I show this to you? Cohen fanned out the pages of data in front of the president. See, the biggest levers of jobs, people leaving voluntarily, was from manufacturing. I don't get it, Trump said. Cohen tried to explain. I can sit in a nice office with air conditioning and a desk and stand on my feet 8 hours a day. Which one would you do for the same pay? Cohen added, people don't want to stand in front of a 2,000-degree blast furnace. People don't want to go into coal mines and get black lung. For the same dollars or equal dollars, they're going to choose something else. Trump wasn't buying it. Several times, Cohen asked the president, why do you have these views? I just do, Trump replied. I've had these views for 30 years. That doesn't mean they're right, Cohen said. I had the view for 15 years. I could play professional football. It doesn't mean I was right. I live in Eastern Oregon. All the blue-collar conservatives around here aren't all about fracking. They're all about wind power because those are the available jobs here. Exactly. Exactly.